Welcome everyone to the Kaimuki Neighborhood Board number 4 February meeting. Welcome. Today is February 18th. Time now is 6:30 p.m. This meeting is called to order. First order of business, I'll ask our neighborhood assistant Curtis to call the roll, please, and confirm quorum.
Yes. Abe. Aguilera. Absent.
I'm here.
Arnis.
Here.
Oh, online. Arnis. Gardner.
Here online.
Hara.
Online, present.
Ho. Hagel. Mandrick. Otozai is absent, and Kane.
Here.
Chair, you have quorum with 9 members present.
All right. Thank you very much. Just so that the board is aware, James Logue has resigned from the board for personal reasons. So we will ask for volunteers to try to fill that seat at the next board meeting. All right. First substantive agenda item is a report from the Honolulu Fire Department. Is someone from HFD online or present? Okay. Not seeing anyone. We do have the report filed in our Google Drive. The next report is from the Honolulu Police Department.
Hi, good evening.
Hi.
Hi, good evening. Lieutenant Nishimura from representing HPD District 7, East Honolulu. The following are the statistics for the month of January. Motor vehicle theft, 11. Burglary, 5. Theft, 23. UEMV or car break-ins were 5, with total calls for service in the district at 5,804. Our safety tip for the month is scams. Recently, you've seen in the news that there are scams involving the DMV, the Department of Motor Vehicles, where they're saying that there were outstanding violations or things like that, and you're required to pay money. So that is absolutely a scam. So please do not fall for that scam. Other types of common scams that are out there are law enforcement or some other type of agency posing and saying that you have some type of a fine or you're going to be arrested if you don't pay it. Those are very common scams. Law enforcement or any type of similar agency will not be going online or soliciting you for any type of payment. Other things out there are the sweepstakes, where they promise you money if you pay. So these types of scams are only limited to the scammer's imagination. So if you have any concerns or questions about something, please call 911, request to have an officer meet with you. You can go over what you may have, and they can advise you from there. But please do not send any kind of money online or via anything. Like, if you're suspicious, you have a good right to be. As a follow-up, this evening, a question was posed to us about enforcing parking violations near or close to an intersection. Those can be enforced at any time and can be enforced by any police officer on site. The violation is 20 feet from a crosswalk or intersection, 30 feet from a stop sign, and it is a $35 parking fine. But with that, that's our report for the month. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Lieutenant. Any questions for the Honolulu Police Department from the board?
Hi, Brian. I just wanted to say thank you for putting that question on the agenda, and thank you for that that answer, Lieutenant. So thank you.
All right. Thanks, Becky.
You're welcome.
Any other
Thank
questions
you.
from the board? Questions from the public? All right. Seeing none. Thank you very much, Lieutenant. Thanks for the report. Appreciate it. All right.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you. The next item is just an announcement. There will be a sign waving kind of traffic safety publicity event at Ali Iolani Elementary School, and this is tomorrow, co-sponsored by HPD District 7, the Office of Jackson Sayama, and it is to promote awareness of traffic safety. This is occurring again tomorrow from 7:15 a.m. to 7:50 a.m. on Waialae Avenue between 6th and 7th Avenues. So next is community reports, and a report from the Board of Water Supply. Is Lorna on?
Hi, good evening. I'm here. Can you folks hear me okay?
Sure can. Thanks, Lorna.
Okay, great. Hi. I do have a quick announcement for this month. I want to report one main break in January, and that was on the 12th on the 13th Avenue. It was a 6-inch, and the main was service in 1935, so quite old one. Announcement I have this month is about the 2026 poetry and poster contest. So the Board of Water Supply has launched its 2026 poster and poetry contest, and the poster contest is open to grades kindergarten to 6th graders. The poetry is open to 7th graders to 12th graders, and this year the theme is everyday conservation. Deadline to enter is coming up on February 27th. And if you want more information, please go to our website at www.boardofwatersupply.com/WCW contest. That is my announcement I have this month. Does anybody have any questions?
All right. Thanks very much, Lorna. Any questions for the Board of Water Supply from the board? All right. Seeing none. Any questions from the public? All right. Seeing no questions. Thank you very much, Lorna. Thanks for the update.
Okay.
this month.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Good evening. All right, we're going to move on to presentations this evening. Our first presentation is Kaimuki Vision Zero, Road Rights and Safety for Everyone. And we have Eric McCutcheon. Eric.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Nice to see you. I missed last month because I was in Antarctica. The only road rules down there is you must yield to wildlife. But you want to anyway. Even they look left and right. I know this is not the most sophisticated way to do this, but little king penguins there. All right. So for the past 2 years, we have been talking about road safety for all. And one idea we've learned is that if reduce the number of road trips taken, that would significantly reduce the number of accidents and violence that happen. And a big part of that, if we can reduce the number of one person in one car going 1, 2, or 3 miles, that portion of it, we can make a significant improvement to road safety. And we are guided by 2 things. One, how well we are doing right now. So I always share with you how we're doing. So in the state of Hawaii, traffic fatalities through February 11th, which was the last date that it was updated, 13 so far, but 16 at this time last year. So we are doing better. And interestingly, the number of deaths to occupants of vehicles is the leading category versus pedestrians or bicycles or other users. I think we're guided to keep this down by Vision Zero, to have no fatalities on our road. And again, we keep working on that. And just a reminder, certainly for us here in Kaimuki, we're going to work really hard to make sure that we have Kaimuki Vision Zero within our neighborhood borders. All right. So the legislators have come up with some legislation for your consideration. I'm going to share some of that with you. They might be ideas you approve or ideas that you might disagree, but hopefully they make you think. Wait. All right. So pedestrians and intersections. Do I go? Do you go? Do I wait for them? Do they have halfway across, all the way across? It is confusing for cars and pedestrians, and that's why we've learned through our day over the past 2 years that that crossings are extremely dangerous places for pedestrians to be. So there's a couple of ideas here. One is LPI, leading pedestrian interval. A red light for cars, a walkman for pedestrians, to give them 3 to 7 seconds to advance into the crosswalk ahead of cars. Okay, that is part of the Senate bills or H bills. I've got them all across the top for you, and they fall into those different categories. Maybe you like that. Here's another idea. Those all stop, all walk diagonal crosses like that one in Waikiki being proposed in this legislative session for all abutting school crossings. Something to think about there. All right. Bikes, e-bikes, micro-mobility devices, high-speed electric devices. What are those kids riding out there? We've spent a lot of time talking about all those devices that are appearing on our roads, and they're all kind of here to stay. And again, we've learned over our discussions that regulation of these devices improves safety for all. So you'll be happy to know there's a bunch of new regulation coming. I'll just share a little bit of it. Helmets to age 18 for bicycles and electric foot scooters from 16. DOE being required to teach e-bike safety along with other bicycle safety in their traffic safety education program. And these things on the right, they look like bicycles. Yeah, 2 tandem wheels. There's an electric motor. There's operable pedals. And those pedals are operable when it reaches its top speed of 70 miles an hour with its gigantic motor. So it is not legal. It is not an electric bicycle. It does not fit under the law. But at least there are some proposals, again, in this legislative session, to figure out what they are and where they can go and what they can do and what we're going to do about them, because they're not going away. Kids love them. Adults love them, right? All righty. What else we got? We've learned over the past 2 years that our city design and city engineering for the past 100 years or so has been extremely car-centric. And that is a very unhealthy way to live for our planet and our people. So there's a lot going on. And, you know, we already have safe routes to school. We've got complete streets. We've got Vision Zero. So just looking at parking, a couple of parking ideas in the legislature right now. Modifies parking requirements for affordable and transit-oriented developed projects. Modifying it sometimes to zero parking. So this sign here is not from Hawaii. It was in Los Angeles, but I think a lot of people might feel this way. The city plans to build an 8-story low-income housing unit here with no parking. Call the mayor's office to stop it. And again, you may feel that way, totally fine. And again, I'm only looking at the state legislation right now, again, but reducing parking is a big idea. And just to get you thinking, what can you do if you take away parking spaces at housing projects? Well, that becomes space available for children's play areas, for community gardens, for community workspaces, for micromobility parking, ride share pickup, or just increasing the living space in the building's footprint, right? 2 sides to every story. putting it out there for you to think about. And last, and my bus people, I'm curious what you think about this one. Right? We have learned in our discussions that public transportation, mass transit, is the most economical, the most sustainable, the healthiest, and the most equitable way to travel. And there is legislation to make it fare free for Keiki, for youth, and some bold legislator has proposed for everyone at a price, but for everyone, free public transportation. Just some ideas for you to think about this legislative session. We'll check in again to see how these bills fared over the next couple of months. If you care, talk to your legislators. They're coming next. Thank you.
All right. Thanks very much, Eric. Any questions for Eric from the board? Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am. Hang on. Any questions from the board? All right. Seeing none. All right. For the public, go ahead, man.
Oh, the microphone.
You speak in the mic.
70-mile-per-hour electric.
Oh, sorry. Can you use the microphone?
Sure. Okay. Those high-speed electric devices that go up to 70 miles an hour, those aren't legal, are they?
They are not legal.
Okay.
We don't have a
You just said they're
definition
popular
for
with
them.
kids and popular with adults, and I want to make sure it's clear they're not legal. Okay.
Correct.
Right. Any other questions? Okay. Seeing none. Thank you very much and welcome back. Thanks, Eric. All right. Our next presentation this evening is an update on the Q Dojo. This is the archery training facility at Maumai Nature Park. And we have Robert DeWitts. Robert.
Good evening. Thanks for having me here. I think we've got a slideshow. Just to remind everybody, the big picture, the Maumai Nature Park is just about 30 acres. Depending how you tabulate it, the proposed Q-Dojo is anywhere from 1/2 to 1% of the total park area. And the existing dog park, which is what most people call it, doesn't get touched in the new development. Some of the community concerns that were brought forward through earlier medium, and I wanted to address here, was first of all, safety. The facility is designed from the ground up with multiple layers of safety. This is unlike the facility that was in Kapiolani Park that was shut down 12 years ago, 13 years ago. It had no buffers, it had no barrier netting, it had no supervision. In this development, there'll always be a full-time range master supervising when there are operations going on. There'll be security fencing all around. There'll be landscaping around that, and there'll be buffer zones, and the shooting is actually towards the Board of Water Supply property, which is locked off to the public. But pictures speak more than words, so I'd appreciate if you'd take a quick look at this video. To get you to click on that link. This is archery netting, which will be put up around the dojo to prevent arrows from escaping. It's repeating itself. You get the idea. If you look up this video online, this fellow shoots 40 arrows straight on from 10 yards away before he penetrates the screen. And even then, the arrow only goes a short distance through. So, and that's, I mean, that's directly shooting at at it to try to make it fail. So honestly, folks, we worry about liability. We don't want anybody hurt. We don't want to be sued. It's almost a near zero probability of an incident with an arrow. The other concern was flooding or runoff. I understand there's flooding in the streets there. The building code requires that there be no runoff from this site. Any runoff has to be contained on site, and it will be through drainage swales that channel the runoff into a containment basin where it percolates back into the soil. So there will be no runoff from the site into the streets. Parking and traffic, we will not be taking up street parking. The facility is designed with adequate parking. It will be used primarily in off-peak hours when traffic is not so heavy. And just last week, in response to some good input I got from the neighbors, I called the mayor's office directly and asked them to have the Department of Transportation Services take a really hard look at it, because the underlying issue is people speeding down the road. That's what came through to me from the neighborhood. So there's a speeding problem, people coming down the hill. So I have asked through the mayor's office for DTS to see what can be done about that. The other concern was the use of public lands or green space. Make no mistake about it. This private nonprofit foundation is gifting $850,000 asset to the city. We do not own the land. We do not lease the land. We do not rent the land. We will gift this facility to the city. It becomes an asset. The city of Honolulu, it gets operated under the Department of Parks and Recreation. It is a public asset available for all. It is designed as a multi-use facility with a community meeting room, a kitchenette. It's designed to handle Pilates, yoga, hula, kendo, you name it. Whatever the community can imagine to use this for, it is available for. And our private foundation will do the maintenance at no cost to the city. So it's maintained in good condition. It will meet every single element of the Conservation District zoning P2, which is a zoning requirement for this sort of parkland. Next slide, please. Oh, sorry. There's been a lot of talk about lack of notice. Not everybody got the word. I understand that, and that is regrettable. I can only tell you what was done in an attempt to communicate to the community. Starting in January of last year, I've attended this board meeting 6 times. This is my 7th briefing. We've done direct postal outreach to 63 nearby residents. We've had a meeting with Council Chair Waters. We have a board resolution of support from this board. Direct email exchange with neighbors. Certainly I've dialogued with more than 20. Door-to-door knocking. I went to every house around the park. In retrospect, I realize now that some of them are duplex. So maybe I didn't get to everybody, but where I couldn't speak with someone, I put a flyer in every mailbox I saw, and that was in February of last year. Park cleanup days, we have participated. We, being members of our foundation and the Kudo practitioners, have participated in 3 park cleanup days, cleaning up that park. I have participated in 8 briefings with Envision Kaimuki, which is a community group that's dedicated to fire mitigation and reforestation of that area. We are designing our facility to support their irrigation needs so that in the future we can reforest that with native vegetation. We had a meeting with the Board of Water Supply, which, by the way, has 0 concerns about the aquifer. Most recently, I mean, how do you make sure you talk to everybody who needs to be talked to, right? That's important to me. The way I thought was most real was for me to be at the park for each of the 7 days of the week from sunrise to sunset. So that's what I did. I sat in that park for 84 hours. I put a sign out by the road that said, "Stop and ask about the dojo." I collected all of these surveys and I logged every single interaction with every single person who would interact with me. And I shared these with your community leaders. Next slide, please. Here's the results. Back one. 66% of the people supported the development. 28% didn't want to talk to me, didn't want to do the survey. 6% opposed. That's an honest tally of what I got. I have it all down in my logs of who agreed, who didn't agree, why they didn't agree, what their dog's name was. And this, regardless of the result, it is an honest effort on my part to reach everybody who uses the park. And I will tell you that sitting there from sunrise to sunset, I saw what the usage is. And it's lots of folks who are walking their dog and they come in and they either drop their doggy poop bag in the garbage can and leave, or they stop for a few minutes, let the dog do its thing, then drop it in the can and leave. But if you tabbed the actual time spent, it's about 3 minutes per person. I timed dozens and dozens of people. I'd say the average number is about 3 minutes per person. And if you tally that times the total number of visits, that's about 10 hours of use a week. I did the math. I sat there for 7 days. You know, I got a feel for it, and I talked to the folks who use it. Next slide, please. Here are some of the comments that I got from the surveys, and I'll just leave those up there for you to look at. But a couple other things that came through from the environmental assessment, and the comment period just closed on that. That's a mandatory assessment we have to do under state law. It's important that you know that that site was bulldozed decades ago. I couldn't find the records when, but we did soils testing, and there's up to 3.5 feet of fill that has been put over the entire area of that park where this project is envisioned to be. So whatever may have been there archaeologically, historically, was long ago bulldozed and is deeply buried, and it's very unlikely that we will uncover that. Of course, if we do, I'll stop, follow the protocol if there's anything significant uncovered. Some members of the community mentioned there's more current information, a more cultural survey done by Kamehameha Schools. There was a survey done a couple years ago by Kamehameha Schools that is basically an inventory of all cultural resources along the Kona coast, which basically goes from Kalihi to Hawaii Kai. It does not address this site specifically. It's a tabulation or an inventory, as it calls itself, of existing studies. It talks about Ma'umai Ridge as a place of Hawaiian lore, which it is, but it doesn't meet the legal statutory requirements of an archaeological study. There was a statutory required archaeological study done of the dojo site, and it found no significant historical archaeological issues. Those are the facts. Board of Water Supply, again, met with them, no impacts on the aquifer. There were comments about privatization of public land for commercial use. Again, this becomes a public asset, a public park facility administered like every other public park facility under the same rules. It is a gift of $850,000 worth of assets to the city and volunteers who will maintain it, and volunteers who will teach others in the community who want to learn something new, okay, at no cost to the city, and an opportunity for every other community group to have a nice place to meet. Some concerns about noise. Can't speak for other activities, but Kudo is a silent sport, absolutely silent. And before, I'm sure there's questions, a lot of folks here. Let me say thank you to the folks who have expressed your concerns and your objections in a neighborly, aloha spirited way. It's hard. I'm a private citizen like you. I'm just trying to do something for my community. And most of you have been great in the way you interacted and expressed your concerns. I will tell you, I've been attacked. I've been harassed by email and been called a liar. I've been called a briber. I've been called dirty. I'm just like you folks. I'm just trying to do what I think is something the community needs. If you don't agree with that, I respect that. But, you know, nobody's going to step forward to do anything in the community if they're attacked. So that's all I have to say. I'll happy to take questions.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Bob. So first off, any questions from the board members on Bob's presentation and update? Yeah, go ahead. Who do we have? Oh, Becky. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me? I have my sound
Yes.
going through my.
Yes.
Is it Robert? Robert, yeah, I want to thank you for all the presentations that you've given. I saw on your PowerPoint that you were here 6 times, and I assume you spent 10 minutes each time. So I'm thinking that's an hour. You've spent an hour at the neighborhood board. And I was actually really taken aback last month when a lot of people were upset to hear about this project, because I felt like I must have failed, because I'm a neighborhood board member and I'm supposed to vet these types of things out. And maybe I didn't do a good job because there's all these people upset about it. But as I was listening to the concerns, they were all things that you addressed, you know, about the traffic and the dogs and the noise and the parking. Like, these are all things that you addressed over the course of the 6 visits that you came here. So what I wanted to say, and we ran out of time, and I'm really glad for a lot of people from the community coming out and taking an interest and expressing their concerns. But what I wanted to say to everybody is, like, oh, if you could just suspend your judgment until you watch the videos and listen to the presentation and see if your concerns were addressed, because I felt they were. And I live pretty close to this park, and I've tried to embrace it as a park, but it's just, it doesn't really do it for me. It's overgrown, and I just don't feel like there's a lot of care taken in that park. And I think that this project will do that. This will engender a lot of engagement. And I love the idea of the Zen archery. I think it's a peaceful practice. So I don't think it's going to be as terrible as some people have feared. But my only request, and like I said, you know, my job here as a volunteer neighborhood board member is to listen to this stuff and to, you know, call things out if I don't think that it's going to be helpful. And you guys know me, I'm not afraid to do that. I'm not afraid to say, you know, when something is going to be a problem. So I felt like I did my job in that regard by asking questions and, you know, probing for more and supporting this. So for those of you who are concerned about it, if you could just suspend judgment and maybe listen to some of the other presentations until you know, can feel for certain that your concerns are addressed. That would be my humble request of all of you, just to honor the time that the neighborhood board has spent on it, because it is our job to really vet this, and I think we did. So that's all.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks. Thanks, Becky. Any other questions from the board members, online or in person?
Want to make a comment?
Go ahead,
Hello?
Audrey.
Is it working?
I think it is.
Okay, sorry. I just want to clarify, not the most important point, but it's the land area of the project is 8.2% of the total Maumai Park. I spent time, I did an environmental assessment report, back comment. So I waited for you to talk, so I'm just gonna say a couple things. The safety is really a concern, because these are knittings, and it's not like wood or steel. So anyway, I wrote a report on that, but I don't have time to go into it tonight. But and that's a big concern. And also, why are we giving up a beautiful park like that? The mini park is picnic tables, running your dog. I'm a dog lover. These people have used that park for many years, and it's a shame that that park will be taken away from them because I think it's the only park in that whole area. But anyway, I'll let everybody else have a chance to speak.
Yeah, Sean, go ahead.
Just as a point for the presentation, Audrey, the park with the dog, that is not being taken up. So we will need to clarify that information that you're stating. The section that we're talking about is above the park. But you mentioned, just so we're
Because
clarifying,
some of the
one second, I'm not done. You did mention the dog park would be taken up, the park that people use. That is not the case. It's above that. That park, that section of the park that is considered for this project is overgrown. It's full of invasive species. It's a fire hazard in summer. So that is not the same section, just to clarify.
Let me clarify. No, I just mentioned dogs, that some people walk their dogs through that park because they mentioned that a month ago. I'm not sure if you're here. So I'm just repeating what they say. It's not a doggy park. I didn't say that. But some people do picnic there and walk their dog through, and something about a training that they have sometimes. Okay. Well, I don't want to argue that point, but I still think there's a lot of safety issues that need to be addressed for the range.
All right, any other questions from the board? All right,
I
none?
could just correct
Yeah, Bob, go ahead.
factual statement.
Mhm.
The zoning code, as it counts, and we've been through the preliminary, the development stands at 4.8% of that parcel only. And the park itself consists of about 7 parcels, totaling 29 acres. So if you measure square footage, this development is somewhere between half and 4.8% of the park. Maybe 1% or 0.5% of the total park, and 4.8% of that particular parcel below Cocoa Drive.
Just repeating what's in the EA report, the environmental assessment report that was done by the city planner. And they said 8.2%,
Okay.
the square footage. I'm just repeating what's in there.
Okay. Safety, I'm happy to engage with folks one-on-one. I'm not sure what else could practically be done to assuage the safety concerns, honestly. There are 1,200 dojos in Japan, lots of them in heavily urbanized areas. I searched and searched to find an incident of an accident in Japan from 1,200 dojos in Tokyo and Osaka and all these dense places. Couldn't find one. But happy to engage with anybody who wants to talk about it in detail.
All right, if there are no further questions from the board, any questions from the public? And if you have a question, if you can identify yourself and come up to the microphone, please. Sir, go ahead.
Hi, I'm David Ross. I live a few blocks up the hill from the park. We've been there for 30 years. We had some communications in October by email, hopefully not too hostile. I guess I have one question about something you said a couple of times, namely the nature of this as a public asset. And I know you've talked frequently at these presentations about the fact that you intend to do presentations and introduce people to the archery. But it's clear that the primary functionality of this construction is going to be to serve the dojo. And so my question is, how open is joining the dojo to the public? So if 40 or 50 people, as a fraction of the people in the neighborhood, because the people in the neighborhood do use the park, wanted to join, if they sent applications to you tomorrow, how many of those people could you accommodate?
Our mission is to promote Kudo because we believe in it. So we want to see a renaissance of the Kudo practicing community. We're limited by teaching capacity right now. I mean, it takes about 3 months to go through the beginner class. So initially, we'll probably have 2 instructors. So we'll be able to do maybe, 40 to 80 people a year. But then as we increase the number of instructors, we can add more. So it's really constrained right now by the number of instructors, but we want to grow the community.
So you're saying that you can take 40 to 80 people?
In a year.
The reason I ask this is I have a friend who inquired about joining. I don't know if it was your particular dojo, but inquired about joining a dojo here in Hawaii. He was told they don't even have room on the waiting list. And I mean, this friend is Japanese. His partner is also Japanese who had done archery in Japan, and they were very disappointed by this. And so if it's going to be, you know, for our tennis courts, our pickleball, whatever the other are done in parks, those are immediately available to the entire public.
I believe your friend probably was in touch with the Kudo Club, which is really constrained in the number of people it can train. That's the club. Our foundation is working hard to build teaching capacity. And surprisingly enough, there's a lot of folks in Japan are happy to come and do guest seminars. Funny thing. So, you know, we hope we're going to be able to accommodate, you know, lots of folks. And over time, we certainly will build that capacity. You know, Honolulu has a lawn bowling facility in Kapiolani Park. I'm not sure how many lawn bowling instructors there are, but we're gonna build up the Kudo instructors.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. If you can come up to the microphone or use the microphone, please.
I have a statement, not a question.
Sure.
Can we wait?
Mhm.
Or now?
Is it related to this?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll be quick. Hi, everyone. I'm born and raised on Wilhelmina Rise. I live less than 100 feet from this park. I have serious concerns about the proposed development based on procedural fairness, public access, environmental impact, and zoning. It is highly concerning that plans were approved before community notices were sent out. The only outreach to via letters was a 30-day letter sent last October with a deadline before Thanksgiving, after the plans were approved. This is too narrow and poorly timed for meaningful public input. Decisions affecting public preservation land should not be rushed. With such a limited window, and outreach must begin again, be broad-reaching, and last for a substantial amount of time. There is currently a petition that was started a few days ago on change.org that already has 93 signatures opposing this. Public access and privatization. This park is already inadequately maintained by the city, but using that as a reason to hand over public space to a private entity is downright appalling and unacceptable. Even if it is gifted back to the city, it will remain privately maintained. If it looks like a duck and walks like a duck, this is effectively privatizing one of our extremely limited public urban green spaces. The solution must benefit the most people, not a select few. Playgrounds and exercise stations in the existing lawn and broadly accessible, better maintained trails are just a few examples of what I believe could be better prioritized. Waiumai Park is forested with mature trees, not brush. This proposed clear cutting of 25,000 square feet of forest on this 2.45 acre parcel, that is a parcel part of the larger park, but it is a 2.45 acre parcel for structures and a large parking lot, directly undermines Honolulu's urban canopy goals. The city is currently at 20% tree canopy, far below the call for at least 50% canopy coverage in the neighborhoods. Additionally, the site is a sloped watershed infiltration zone. I have read the articles and watched the videos, by the way. This does drain directly downhill to Claudine Street, where stormwater drainage is already a problem. The project, which I also read, claims stormwater management is sufficient, but lived experience directly contradicts this. I welcome you to come see for yourself next time it rains. This sport stated on the government website, the statement from the dojo says that it's practiced indoors and thus should be cited where building is permitted in the existing urban core. Preservation zoning exists primarily to protect natural resources, open space, and visual relief, not to accommodate arbitrary structures. The proposed development exceeds the maximum allowed building coverage on this parcel of 5%. It exceeds that limit by 5 times. Finally, to put this in perspective, the proposal trades forested habitat for hardscaping and cosmetic landscaping, bulldozing a rainforest for a houseplant, if you will, draining a wetland for a bird bath, environmental theater dressed up as restoration, This converts preservation land into a development footprint while branding landscaping as conservation, nature loss packaged as enhancement. I strongly encourage the board to put a moratorium on this permit, conduct a more thorough review, allow sufficient time for broad community input, and most importantly, engage the Trust for Public Land and the University of Hawaii Community Design Center for a community-driven plan like they have done very successfully at Ala Park and Makalapa Parks. I'm not here to only oppose this. I'm here to say what we can do better. Together, we can explore alternatives that expand tree canopy, maintain public access, and maximize environmental benefit. This project does none of that. It is not preservation or enhancement. It is a net loss of very limited environmental and community value. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. All right. Any other questions?
I'm sorry, my name is Heidi Jensen, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Heidi. All right. Any other questions or comments? Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me? Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry. Hang on. Did she have her hand up? Curtis?
Yes, but.
We can hear you.
Yeah, actually, ma'am, can you come up first and ma'am, online, we'll get to you next. All right, ma'am, go ahead.
And just use the microphone on the stand. Oh, yes, please. Thank you.
My name's Colette, and I just have a few questions. I'm assuming since your wife wanted a permanent place, a permanent place to set up this dojo, that you're planning to store all the equipment there. And you're going to have an office of some sort, right? Which also means that it becomes more private. Now, what if somebody wants to use that facility at a time that you think you should be using the facility, since you have set days that you want to run it? Do you have first dibs, or does everybody get first dibs? Because the city and county only gives you 3 weeks at a time. So who gets first dibs on the property? And if you always get first dibs, then this is a private club that occasionally you'll let somebody else use.
Hang on. Ma'am, do you have any other questions? Ma'am, are you done? Do you have any other questions? Okay, thank you. All right. Let's see, we have somebody with their hand online, ma'am. Kawi?
hi. Good evening, Chair, and everybody that showed up today. Thank you, Heidi, for that. I kako'oyu. My name is Kau'i Lopez. I am a Kumuhula, former ethnographer and archaeologist, and an Aloha Aina advocate who grew up across Mau'umai with my family, who still live there, and we've been there for well over 20 years. There are many safety concerns that include fire mitigation and flooding, but I've already sent those comments last month. Tonight, I am here to remind all of us that we are all guests here. Me, you, and those who will come after us. But what stays in perpetuity is the Aina and the mana that flows within those spaces. The thing about Haole perspectives is that it tells us we must have a pinpoint location to where these significant spaces are for it to be deemed important enough to care and preserve. But my Hawaiian perspective tells me that it is all in the name of our wahi. My Hawaiian kupuna are intelligent beings, which makes me an intelligent being. And that's why when I look at Mau'umai, I don't just see nature, I see my kupuna. I see the story of Kane and Kanaloa come to life here and why it was named after them. They travel in pairs to seek water. That is already significant to me. That tells me there's a water source there. Understand that Akua in this context does not mean God. It means element. Kane is our vai, our water, and Kanaloa is the basins that hold that vai. If 2 + 2 = 4, then Kane plus Kanaloa equals water aquifer. And if you don't believe me, then go back to the report that says the Waialae Aquifer resides under that area. My family has lived within this space for generations, and one commonality I have noticed was how strong the spiritual forces are here. I'm not going to gaslight my mom, who has her own experiences growing up feeling other beings being in there that is not seen. As a Hawaiian, I understand that the spiritual realm is not separated from physical realm. So, as a Hawaiian, I tell you this, there is no way this project can ever be done in Pono when you have a Haole lens looking at it. This project can never be done in Pono when Kupuna gets negatively blasted on the news because somebody's ego got hurt. There is no way this project can be Pono when you don't even recognize that mana is everything. And even when the physical body no longer exists, the energetic fields and the channels still hold weight there. In a time where AI is grossly taking over, I fear that no one realizes the real impact to our water resources. It is woefully ignorant to chance this when Kapukaki is still contaminated. You want to do something Pono for the community. How about you have community work days not put on by the person that's funding this project? And instead of building something, clear the invasives and replant native forests so that that ecosystem can thrive once again. We don't need any more infrastructure. We need more untouched aina that is properly stewarded. 30 years ago, they tried this same thing. I am here 30 years later in my 30th year of life to resound that same mana'o. A ole loa. Keep the green spaces green, please. Because every time I go back home, my heart breaks when I see billions and billions of buildings on places that were once green and thriving. Understand this. When the time comes, I will see you guys on the front line, and I will protest to the last aloha aina. If I can respect the Japanese culture, at the very least, I really, really, really expect them to respect my cultural views. Mahalo.
Okay, so we're going to have to move on. We'll take one last question or comments. Any last question? Go ahead.
Some comments and some questions about the containment. I think it's great that the Board of Water Supply says it won't be a problem, but do they know that their existing catch basin across the street on 16th overflows when there are big rains? Because it does, and it floods down. If you look on Claudine Street, you see a lot of sandbags because stuff comes down. Every time somebody builds a retaining wall, somebody on next door is complaining that now their house is flooded. So I think that's a real concern. I'm disappointed that the people who are the experts on it, well, I know Bob made a good faith effort, of course, but that they aren't seeing that as an issue. I do have concerns about the community access because I sort of hear two different things. One is we're building our Kyoto and we're going to maintain it, but not pay the utilities. That will come from the city, so our tax dollars. And we're going to manage it, but the Department of Parks and Recreation, you can set up access to it. So I kind of hear two different things. It's like, is it the Department of Parks and Recreation or is it the Kyodojo? It definitely seems to have some conflicts in what's being said if you kind of stop and read it. And I did. I read the 69-page draft environmental assessment and did respond to that as well. Also concerns about, and we brought this up before, but 63 homes. There was a woman I spoke with last night who lives directly across 16th from where the driveway will be, and she didn't receive anything. She didn't hear about it until January. So as others have said, there was not, I know Bob did what he was supposed to do as far as within 300 feet. My parents built their house in 1956, and I looked on Google Maps. It's 460 feet away. I hear everything that goes on in the park. I see everything that's going on in the park. It's very close. So 300 was not enough. And here's somebody who was less than that who didn't get any notification. Hey, I engaged with you, Bob. And you didn't ask me to fill out a survey. So I think you're cherry picking. Also, the usage numbers, to be fair, he was there during this kind of bad weather we had. Driving down 16th tonight, I saw about 18 people playing in the park. And it was just, I had my lights on, but I kind of didn't need to. So It's not always the times that you think. I missed him a bunch of times when I was walking my dog because I was either too early or too late. But I saw that he was there and saw him quite a few times. And I appreciate that he made that effort. I think that was a really good faith attempt at outreach, albeit a little ex post facto because this was already approved by the neighborhood board. It was presented as a done deal, I guess, in October when suddenly it was in the newspaper and none of us knew about it. And then I'm also curious, there's a really question for Bob, how many people in the existing community around my park are currently members of the Kyoto? Any?
Hang on, ma'am. Do you have any other questions?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. There were a couple of questions raised. Bob, do you have any responses or would you like to respond to any of the questions?
I'm certainly no expert in Hawaiian cultural practices. I had the opportunity to engage with Hawaii for some months now, and hopefully we can
It's
approach
Kau'i.
I'm sorry, Kau'i, approach the issues you mentioned in the proper fashion. Some factual issues. The plans are not approved. The plans still have to go before the Department of Planning and Permitting. The response window for the environmental assessment is set by law. We have no control over that. But the current parks are inadequately maintained. I have no control over. The project does not envision clear cutting 2.45 acres. The lot is 2.45 acres. The neighbors specifically requested the trees along 16th Avenue remain. They certainly will, and will minimize that. The canopy coverage is actually under the P2 zoning requirements set forth. So for every, for example, parking stall you make, you have to have a certain percentage of tree coverage. So the zoning requirements for the P2 zoning do look towards keeping and expanding the canopy. And lots of things that can be done with lots of city parks. And, you know, everyone here is welcome to pony up their own resources to do that. So again, I'll answer any factual questions.
Thank you very much, Bob. Thank you, everyone. Ma'am, can you come up to the microphone, please? Can you come up to the microphone, please? Thank you.
How can we expect Department of Parks and Rec to maintain more infrastructure in a park that is already poorly maintained? And we can't rely on indefinitely having volunteers maintain that. That's just not how it works, or it's privatized. So explain to me how we're going to have DPR do more to this park when they don't even mow the sidewalks so we can safely walk on the road. This doesn't add up.
All right. Thank you for your comments. All right. We're going to have to move on. Thank you very much, everyone, for your comments. All right. The next item of business is approval of permits for 3615 Sierra Drive. This is an update or request for an update. We did send the agenda, I believe, to the Department of Planning and Permitting. Do we have a representative from the Department of Planning and Permitting present or online by any chance? All right. If not, Kelsey, are you online? Do you mind articulating the questions for purposes of the minutes?
Oh, yes. So, neighbors have noticed that construction has resumed at the site for the past 2 weeks. And as people may know that have been following the story, the permits were revoked from the site. Cited in the notice of violation was issues with the floor to area ratio, too many wet bars, too many bathrooms, and insufficient side yards. There was an attempt by the builder to regain their permits through the Building Board of Appeals, but the board denied the regaining of those permits. So I think the question the community wants to know is, how were those 4 issues, the floor to area ratio, the bathrooms, the wet bars, and insufficient side yards, remedied so that construction could be resuming these past 2 weeks?
All right, thank you very much. So we will request the Department of Permitting to look into that. I guess when the mayor's representative comes on, or Councilmember Tommy Waters' office comes on, we'd request some follow-up on that. So thank you very much. All right, any questions on that issue? All right, if not, we will move on to the elected official reports. First off, the mayor's representative. Brian, are you on?
I am on. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. I just was taking a bunch of notes just now because I can pass that along.
Thank you.
Yeah. Before I get into the report, can you guys tell me where these? I'm guessing that there was some construction going on. Somebody looked into it. The permits were yanked, and now construction's going on again. Can you guys give me an address that we can take a look at?
Yes, it is 3615 Sierra Drive.
Sierra?
Yes, Sierra
Okay.
Drive.
Sierra Drive. Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that in and take a look at it. Okay, for my report. Evening, everybody. I've got the mayor's highlights from the month and some other kind of cool stuff. Kahuku District Park. Their proposed renovations were unveiled. It's kind of exciting. They include a 25 by 50 meter competition size swimming pool, covered basketball courts, and some other amenities. They've got a bunch of people that are bidding now for the construction of that, but the designs are pretty exciting, and we're looking forward to bringing that to Kahuku. The mayor had a proclamation, and he started a celebration of Black History Month in Honolulu, reaffirming his commitment to tolerance and equality. We've had several events surrounding the Honolulu Fire Department. They're celebrating 175 years of service. The HFD actually started in 1851. I looked this up, and it was established by King Kamehameha III. It is actually the oldest running fire department west of the Mississippi. So there's a lot of pride over there. They've actually had some bad news and some accidents and some deaths in their family this last year, and but it's an organization that I think is really well run. There's a lot of pride, and they're busy celebrating, and it's good to watch. We have a new deputy director of the ocean safety. If you guys remember, Kurt Lager is now the official chief of ocean safety. They had a commission and decided that the director should actually be a chief. Now he has a deputy. Jimmy Barros is our deputy, and he's been with the ocean safety crew for about 30 years, and he is known for really getting things done. And I think it's a really good choice. And to have Jimmy and our director, I think they're going to be doing great work over there. So kudos to Ocean Safety for getting Jimmy Burrows online. There's a new off-leash dog park that opened in Makiki. They have a half acre at Punahou and Wilder. This was a request by the Park and Rec from Neighborhood Board number 10. And they vetted it, and they took a look and found out that people were in favor of it, and so they pulled the trigger on it. So that's good to see. And the last is there's a new UV system that protects Kailua waters. There's a treatment plant over there, and they just commissioned a new UV treatment plant for tertiary treatment on the back end of the wastewater treatment process. So they're saving about 50% of energy over their old system, and it's a lot more efficient, and the water coming out is much cleaner. So that was kind of a good thing to see. So does anybody have any questions for me that I can take in or maybe answer right here?
All right. Thank you, Brian. Any questions for the mayor's representative from the board? Anybody online? Okay. Any questions from the public? All right. Seeing none. Thanks very much, Brian. Appreciate it. And thanks for checking in with DPP on that house too.
I'll get on it. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Terrific. Thank you. All right. Next, we have a report from Council Chair Tommy Waters' office.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, good evening, Chair and members. I'm Tasha Luke from Chair Tommy Waters' office. Just several quick updates. The first is on Queen Theater. So last year, the City Council approved Chair Waters' resolution urging the administration to begin steps to acquire the Queen Theater property, which has long stood vacant and deteriorating in the heart of Kaimuki. However, after touring the site, the administration determined that redevelopment would not be extremely challenging due to the lack of parking, structural issues, and significant financial constraints. Chair Waters wants to assure everyone he is not giving up. The restoration of the historic Hilo Palace Theater shows what's possible. That theater once was deteriorated in a similar way, and it has since been successfully rehabilitated and is now thriving again. Chair Waters has been meeting with stakeholders involved in that effort and will continue to keep the neighborhood board updated as discussions move forward. A constituent had reported vehicles speeding on Wilhelmina Rise between Wailea Ave and Sierra Drive. HPD says from January 26th to February 4th, officers conducted speed enforcement checks in the area and issued one citation. HPD does believe their presence in the area is helping to deter violations, which is why they're probably not catching anyone speeding. So they encourage everyone to call 911 when seeing any violations. And HPD says officers will continue to monitor the area. With that, I'm happy to take back any questions or concerns to Chair Waters.
All right, thank you very much, Tasha. Any questions for Chair Waters' office from the board?
Hi,
All right,
Brian.
any questions? Oh, yeah. Hey, go
Hi,
ahead.
sorry. Yeah, Tasha, thanks for that update on Queen Theater. You mentioned another theater as perhaps a sort of a model that we could follow. What was the name of that theater again?
It was the Hilo Palace Theater.
Oh, Hilo. Okay, gotcha. All right. Yeah, I read about that. Thank you, Tasha.
All right, any other questions for Chair Waters' office? All right, if not, we'll move on to, thank you very much, Tasha. Appreciate it. Thanks for the
Thank
update.
you.
We'll move on to Governor Josh Green's representative. Is the governor's representative online?
I'm right here.
Oh,
Wait, can
hello
you guys hear
there.
me okay?
Well, welcome.
The good news is I don't have a report, but I just want to introduce myself because this is my first meeting. I will be representing the governor and the state overall. I currently just became the PIO for department, for law enforcement. So the sheriffs, and I've lived in East Oahu most of my life. I've always liked Kaimuki. When I worked in news, we did a lot of stories about how good your small businesses were here. So, and real quickly, because you had brought up traffic and fatalities, I know Department of Law Enforcement is going to be assisting HPD more in doing patrols in areas, especially like schools. And then of course, freeways on the weekends, because of the way people drive on the overnight on the weekend. But it was, areas that was really identified through a study of where kind of the most danger is, and obviously the school areas is an issue. I came onto the job in November, so fireworks was a big deal. So that's something that we're focusing on as well. And hopefully next time I'll have a little more of a report. You can ask questions. I don't know the answer. I will get the answer for you.
And I know we've corresponded by email, but could you state your name for purposes of the minutes and the video?
Sure. Yeah. David Patterson.
Thank you very much, David. Appreciate it.
All
Thanks
right.
for coming out.
Well, thank you.
Look forward to seeing you.
More meetings.
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right. So let's see. We will move on to Senator Stanley Chang's office.
Oh, sorry, Brian. I had a question for David.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Just real quick. I had asked HPD a couple months ago, just with everything that's happened in Minneapolis and ICE and whatnot, and was just asking what HPD's stance was if ICE were to come. Are they going to cooperate? Are they going to resist? Like what, I know that the police departments in Minnesota were kind of grappling with how they're going to handle that. So I'm just curious at the state level, has DLE, has the governor, have they come out with some sort of policy on how they're going to deal with ICE should they show up?
Yeah.
I did hear on the radio, I think it was today, that like they came up with, the Trump administration has like 1,400 new agreements to deputize local police departments to help with the ICE enforcement. And so that was alarming because it was a big jump from before. So just curious where we're at.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that I'm here because since I do work for law enforcement and I work very closely with our director, Mike Lambert, he's even talked about this in the media a little bit. And as far as we would basically assist the federals in need. Like, let's say there's, people interfering, and we need to, kind of tell the people, hey, you got to back off. This is there's a law enforcement duty that's happening right now. We would not get, if we were asked to do the jobs that ICE has done, we don't do that. And I can tell you that, and this was in the news, we had a situation recently where I think we had a sheriff who allowed a federal to kind of go through a back door in the courthouse to arrest someone. And that sheriff got in trouble because what our stance was, you have to go through the same way that the public has to go through. So I will tell you that is that we certainly do not, we would not assist the feds in a way where they're getting favors. On the other hand, I know, Lambert said this the other day on Rick Amato's show, just saying that, we do have to have a relationship with the feds because in the end, the feds are also the bosses. But again, the sheriffs are not involved in doing the operations like what ICE does. We wouldn't go and arrest someone who we think might be here illegally because that's not our job.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
David.
All right. So we will move on to Senator Stanley Chang's office.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so sorry not to be there with you in person. My name is Zephanie Smith-Eisenstadt, and I am serving as representative of the Senator's office this legislative session. I may have met some of you last session as well. So it's really good to be back, and happy Lunar New Year. Chairman Chang has the honor of, again, serving as chair of the Housing Committee. He's also serving this session on Energy and Intergovernmental Affairs, the Judiciary Committee, and the newly sort of revamped Waterland, Culture, the Arts, and Tourism Committee, which is chaired by Senator Chris Lee. So he's a member of that committee as well. And thank you so much to those of you who both showed up on opening day to meet the senator, to share about some of your priorities and concerns, and those who call, as constituents to express your concerns, whether it be about bills that have come through our Committee on Housing, those that are being heard or that you'd like to be heard on some of the other committees that the senator is part of. And we've gotten lots of bills that he has sponsored and co-sponsored this session. So we're really thrilled about some of the progress. If you've been watching the news this past couple of weeks, I heard someone just mention ICE. We had a bill, SB 2203, which I think was the first bill this session to pass out of the Senate, and will now be heard in the House. So this is going to be related to ICE. It is prohibiting the use of face masks unless certain conditions are met that will improve public trust and help ensure the perception of the secret police tactics used by federal agents are not being used here in Hawaii. So we're really excited about that. I heard someone talking earlier in the meeting about helmets. I know we had a bill related to requiring helmets. And so thank you, because a lot of those great ideas come from you and it comes from these meetings. We also like to highlight what we hear from you all, whether it be concerns or ideas or events, both on the senator's social media and in his monthly newsletter. So I have dropped the link in the chat for those of you who are watching virtually. You can also just go to senatorchang.com/newsletters to subscribe. Our January and February meetings are ripe with resources, events. I heard someone speaking at the top of the meeting about scams. There's an event coming up on February 23rd that we were able to drop in there. And we've also been putting information out on our social media to help try to get ahead of some of those scams and other issues as well. For those who are constituents and otherwise looking to be more engaged, we want you engaged at every step of the process. Just wanted to share a resource. The public access room is your space at the Capitol. If you're on site and you need a place to use the computer or to learn more, to access resources, directories, and otherwise, those resources are available online, but you can also show up to the Capitol on the 4th floor, I believe it is, and receive direct one-on-one support with whatever you may need. So we're happy to be here for you, happy to be a resource, happy to take any questions, and of course, any calls or emails that come through, we will be responding to those as quickly as possible.
All right. Thank you very much for the report. Any questions for Senator Chang's office from the board or the public? All right. Seeing none, we will move on to Senator Leslie Hara. Hello, Senator. Welcome.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Today is day 17 at the legislature. This year we'll have, for the first time since statehood, 59 days rather than 60 days. The Constitution says that we cannot serve no longer than, unless we have an extension for 60 days. We'll have, because of the storm. So we lost a day. And so committees are scrambling because they lost a hearing day. And it could be, sometimes it's 100 bills up for hearing. So to lose one day, it adds pressure and so we can feel the pressure in the legislature. I'd be happy to answer any questions about that's going on. We're still early. It's less approaching 1/3 of the way. And my role is in a way to liaison between House and Senate. I'm on two committees, Labor and Hawaiian Affairs. They're the meant to be the least active committees because I use most of my time in doing what I call upstream work to prep the situations between the House and Senate, so that downstream you don't have some accidental mishaps. And so having been in leadership for a long time, it's sometimes you just trip yourself up if you don't choreograph. If you dance it the first time, you kind of fall over yourself. So we kind of get on the same page in terms of, at the end of the day, we're all going to agree if anything goes forward. And then from that point of view, so it's really, we're shifting from a competing interest to a collaborative-based type of approach. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you, Senator. Any questions for Senator Ihara from the board, in person or online? Any questions from the public? All right. Seeing none. Thank you very much, Senator. Thanks for coming out. All right. We'll move on to Representative Tina Grandinetti or her representative. Anybody online? Yeah, Senator, go ahead.
I was just with Representative Grandinetti, and we were at, and I want to mention it if I can butt in back in.
Sure, yeah.
The volunteers of the year for the Friends of the Library come from this area. They are Gail and Glenn Satsuma, who came to this library for all the growing up, never met each other. They met each other on the mainland, and they got married, and so they fell in love with this library. And I had explained that they spent, I think, 12 years, a lot of volunteer time. And when I presented the certificate, I had said that they are embodied the long lineage, because the library system was set up in the kingdom time in 1871. And it's part of, now we are reclaiming our lineage of the kingdom's time, where what I would call stewardship governance. It was not governance by competition, it's governance by working together, by all caring for each other, so to speak. And in a multicultural society, which is a little bit different from the mainland. So I just want to acknowledge them having been here, and as a way to what I said, they have accepted the lineage inheritance, which is basically to carry on the lineage of public service. And so that's where we all, and many of you here tonight are because of that. So I wanted to just acknowledge that and acknowledge them in the process.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator. All right. So let's see. So to confirm, is any representative from Tina Grandinetti on? Okay. So we'll move on to Representative Jackson Sayama.
Hello, Chair, members of the board, members of the public. Good evening.
Like Senator Yahara had mentioned, the session is in full swing at this point. My committee that I chair on the House side, the Labor Committee, is having its final hearing tomorrow morning before the lateral. So it's still a very busy time for us. This coming, or I guess tomorrow, as Chair Kang had mentioned, we're going to be having a sign waving event in front of Aliolani Elementary School on Waialae Avenue to highlight, speeding, the challenges of speeding. And so we encourage folks, if you have time, to join us. HPD will bring signs, so hopefully we have a good turnout. We also will be having, following up on the discussion of the Kyudo Dojo, a town hall on Sunday from 9 a.m. At the location you're at right now, Kaimuki Library. We'll be going to about 10:15 because the library does have another event at around 10:30. So we will have a productive discussion as well as exchange of views on where the project should go and the direction, if at all, should be changed. Later this month, you should be getting in your mailbox next week our newsletter for February, which includes a number of resources for community grants from AARP and the Hawaii Community Foundation for Kupuna Aging in Place. So if you or an organization that might benefit from these grants, we encourage you to share that with them. Finally, we do have also on the newsletter a QR code and link for the the FAA Hawaii Airspace Modernization survey. So if you could fill that survey out before March 15th, that will provide the FAA with an opportunity to hear the community's voice about potentially changing some of the flight paths that they have outlined. So it's a really great opportunity that won't be coming back anytime soon. So I'll put a link in the chat for the record, but you'll be getting that in your mailbox, like I mentioned before. With that, I'm available for questions. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Representative Sayama. Any questions for the representative from the board in person or online?
Sorry,
No?
I did want to mention, I really wish I could be there tonight. And I do want to thank my fiance for letting me step aside from her birthday celebration to join the board tonight for this. So thank you for that.
Yes, and we thank your fiance as well. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Any questions for Representative Sayama? All right. If not, thank you very much, Representative Sayama. Thanks for.
Oh, wait, hold on. I
we
think
do have a
this-
question. Oh, okay. Go ahead, Eric.
Representative, with all due respect for you and your time, sign waving for traffic safety is an oxymoron, I would say. I would challenge you to find a way to get your message out without being a driving distraction. Thank you.
Thank you for that suggestion. We will do our best.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much, Representative. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right. All right. We'll move on to U.S. Congressman Ed Case's office. Is there a representative online? All right. If not, we will move on to community concerns from residents. This is an opportunity for residents, but not board members, to share comments and concerns that are not listed on the agenda. And per the Sunshine Law, concerns not on the agenda may be presented, but the board cannot take any action this evening. So are there any community concerns this evening? Oh, somebody has their hand up. Oh, Representative, do you have your hand up there?
Oh, yes, I do. But I'm raising my hand up in my capacity as a private citizen. So I'm just taking my representative cap off for now. Again, I wish I could be there in person tonight to announce this. However, I do want to let the board know that this will be my last year as serving the State House District 21 in the legislature, because this year I'll be running for the State Senate District 10. And it's been an honor to serve District 21 for 6 years. It's really been a lifetime opportunity, and I continue to enjoy talking with all my constituents and helping them in the best way that I can. But I hope to do that even more as your senator. So with that, I thank you again for all the work that we've had done together. But I will be continuing to serving as your representative until November, regardless. So I continue to look forward to working with the board. But I just wanted to make that announcement so that other members of the community who wish to run for my seat in the House may do so and may announce their candidacy for them to get to know you and for the community to get to know them. So with that, if that's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for letting us know. And Senator, are you taking off your hat too
Just
for
so.
community concerns? All right, go ahead.
So as a citizen, I wanted to, since 1992, I think it was 92, I did not have a run that year. I was the chair of the Democratic Party for Oahu. And I had from that point on sought out competition. So you may have known some of the neighborhood board members. I'm not sure if it's this board or other boards that I've invited, Republican and Democrat. So I welcome Jackson. And I welcome, see, to me, I'm a Democrat. I believe in values that are aligned with humanity, no meanness and bullying here or elsewhere. And and I think we can, with Jackson and with the House members, show what we're all about, what democracy is about. It's a caring community. How we know who we are is how you treat our adversaries. And in Hawaii, we love each other independent of what a person may think. And so we want to transmit that kind of a sentiment in the political field, which is slightly more rare than other fields. So thank you.
All right. Thank you, Senator. All right. Thank you for your comments. Any other community concerns or comments from residents? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Raynell. I'm visiting tonight. I am chair of the Palolo District Neighborhood Board, District 6. However, I wanted to just bring up a concern. I guess I'll take my hat off as well. As a resident, I frequently visit the parks in our area, and Kaimuki Park is one of them. I recently noticed that there was a new business coming up. Maybe not everyone noticed, but it's called, it's a coffee shop at the corner, right next to Boston Pizza. I was a little, maybe call me old school, but I was a little caught off guard. And my kids kind of pointed it out. And so I just kind of wanted to put it out there if anyone else is concerned. I know it falls in my area, but at the same time, Kaimuki Park is right across the street. So I'm gonna actually pull my picture out just like how Eric did his presentation and just kind of go around. And like I said, maybe I'm old school. So it's a really big sign. And maybe I'm like super old school, but I just kind of wanted to share it and put it out there. That's all.
Public testimony can also be emailed to nco@honolulu.gov.
Yeah, just as long as you show it to the video camera so you can just record it. All right, thank you.
So the name, so I mean, like I mentioned, call me old school, but it's a mild, vulgar word, and it's right across the street of the district park, where little kids use the swings, play around. And so I'm not sure, but I know that normalizing is another word that's trending. However, I just wanted to put it out there. And that's it.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your comment. All right. Any other? Yes, Senator.
There's been proposals in the past for design district for Kaimuki. This is a perfect example of why we need a design district. And a design district basically has guidelines. We're not LA. We don't have billboards. And the council can pass an ordinance to establish a design district that will prevent what I would call a culturally hideous sign in front of the children to play across the park. And it's an infant park. It's not a big, it's like for elementary schools at that corner, especially. So thank you for bringing it up.
All right. Thank you for the comment. All right. Any other questions, comments from the residents? Yes, sir. Yes. Go ahead.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board. I would also like to announce my political candidacy tonight. My name is Andrew Pomsavan. I'm a Pololo boy, and I'm running for House District 21, which is St. Louis Heights, Pololo, Wilhelmina Rise, Maloney Heights, and some parts of Kaimuki up to Harding Ave. I have state and city experience, specifically working for council member, Speaker Calvin Said during his time at City Council. I worked with this board and our residents on issues like monster homes, speeding up Wailai, crosswalks. So handling constituent concerns is really my thing. I love talking stories, seeing what the issues are. So I'll be attending neighborhood board meetings and getting to know you a little bit more. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Any other community concerns? Person online? Okay. Seeing none. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. We will move on to board business. First topic is discussion of ways to increase neighborhood board outreach. And this is just an open discussion for a few minutes to see if there are any ideas on potentially increasing the outreach for the neighborhood board in Kaimuki. There have been a number of comments, I think, in relation to the Kyo Dojo and maybe some other issues in which folks are not aware of the neighborhood board meetings and the discussions during the neighborhood board. So I did want to open it up just to see if there were any ideas just for a couple of minutes that we could explore and perhaps follow up on. Any comments? Carol, go ahead.
I was thinking about this a lot at the last meeting because it surprised me that so many people didn't know about stuff. And I thought about that a lot after I left. And also I was talking to people outside who found out about other things accidentally that are discussed in board meetings. And then I wondered, I asked myself, when did I first hear about the board? And it was because a friend told me I was complaining about something that was happening in my neighborhood that I didn't think was a good thing. And he said, you should go to your neighborhood board meeting. And I work at UH and I run a thing called the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, and it's classes for people over the age of 50. And we do this study where we ask how people found out about it. Was it advertising? Was it this? Was it that? And the number one thing is a friend or a family member told them about it. So I was trying to think of how we can do outreach, and I'm interested in working with people to actually do some kind of a thing where we get everybody to invite somebody else. Do you know about your neighborhood board? Do you know where it is and when it meets? And do you know what it does? Okay, okay, people are making faces, but I just want people to know about stuff. We need to do outreach. I had another good idea that I've completely forgotten because it was a month ago.
Okay, I hope that idea comes back. All right, let us know when it comes back. All right, any other comments or suggestions from the board? Oh, Becky, go ahead.
Food. One of my favorite things about this neighborhood, this community, are all the restaurants, these amazing restaurants. A lot of them are using locally sourced ingredients, and we've got celebrity chefs in the neighborhood. So I wonder if maybe we could highlight
what are the local restaurants? Maybe they can bring little samples of some of their signature dishes, and people who are curious that they want, like, oh, what is the Pig and Lady all about? Or, you know, how about Juicy Brew, whatever. Maybe we could invite these restaurateurs to just bring a little sample of something to the neighborhood board and draw some more people in.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for that suggestion. Oh, yeah, Audrey, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. I'm not sure if we have any funding because I was treasurer, but there's no funding for this any neighborhood board, I guess. But I was wondering, like, say, soccer teams or baseball teams, they put a banner, even a small sign, and people call the number to sign up by a certain date. So we have topics that come up, and then if you're not there, it's gone. So if it's an important topic, you know, perhaps if there was funding, like even a sign in the park or in the corner where people in the residents can be aware. It seems like I've only been on the board not even 2 years, but it seems like people always say, I didn't know about the bus. I didn't know about this. And then it's done. And it's hard to go backtrack on issues that are already made decisions for. So I'm not sure if like a sign or banner or small in a corner, like you don't have to pick sides, just this topic and attend this date neighborhood board. You know, I think it'll be a great service for the community from my observation. I've only been here for less than 2 years, but that's what I noticed. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Wait, sure you have
Curtis.
Brian online and some public testifiers as
Yeah.
well.
All right. Okay. So let's see.
Rahara.
Oh,
Online.
yeah. Yeah. Member
Yep.
Hara. Go ahead.
Yeah, in the past, I think when the board met at Kaimuki Christian Church, there used to be a banner put on the corner when a neighborhood board meeting was coming up. And then also, somewhere in the past, there were small posters that announced that there was a Kaimuki neighborhood board that some of the window shop owners put in the windows as kind of a marketing outreach. And also whether the commission, the neighborhood board commission, can have media press releases to the free local publications like midweek. That's it.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, Calvin. Yeah, go ahead.
Welcome.
Sure. So I was going to mention what Calvin was saying. In days past, there was a poster, you took a picture of all the board members. You remember what I talked about? Can that be resurrected? And then working with KBP and those guys to help get into the local businesses. It's just awareness. Thanks.
Yes, we can facilitate.
Okay. Members, any other comments? Go ahead.
Okay, I remembered my idea, and then he also added to it because I don't just mean our neighborhood board. I mean everybody's neighborhood board, and I mean like talking to the neighborhood board commission and getting this kind of outreach everywhere. Like, do you know about your neighborhood board? And also getting, you know, free radio things to do it. I mean, we could do a coordinated everywhere effort. I like this whole poster idea too. But also, you know, ask your neighbor. Just everybody, person to person kind of stuff, so that everybody, you know, especially now when the world is just crap, we need to build community. Okay, we have community. We have a lot of good community, but we need to grow and I've forgotten the Hawaiian word. We need to massage our community.
One more thing too, you made me think about it. I'm not sure about the other neighborhoods, but the Kaimuki Neighborhood Watch, they have a tremendous email and network too. In fact, I found out a lot of things through those emails in the community, what's going on, issues, you know, it's really a powerful network too, I find.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I would just say be simple with it. Put signs up. My thing, and I think it's been brought up, is that it's a word of mouth. You guys are here. People have opinions on heavy issues, but not every issue is important to everybody. We've had people show up for roadway issues. We've had people show up because of the archery range. What happens is that somebody will show up, they're interested, then they sit through the meeting and they're like, well, that really wasn't that interesting to me. And then they fade out. So there is a level, and I'm a former school teacher, 20 years. You know, it's word of mouth. It's showing up once in a while, spreading the news. So a lot of people in the community have said, I've been in the community for a long, long time. I was born and raised here. You would just have to show up. It's easy to become complacent and not show up and then find out later and be like, I didn't know. It's hard for us to get to everybody in the community. So I do want to point that out, that there is a point of personal accountability to show up, to send a person of your particular group, your particular street to the meeting, and they can come back and talk to you and spread the word. I would love to spend all my time going house to house. We could put up a sign somewhere, but that doesn't mean everyone's going to see it. And if you want to put a message up, like over at the park, say, hey, there's an archery, you should show up to the meeting, doesn't mean everyone's going to see that either. It's really a challenge to get to every single person. And again, I just want to reiterate, there is a level of personal accountability. There is a neighborhood board here, spread the word. People need to show up. They need to check their email. I've talked to numerous people. I have the email. I just don't check it. That's really a challenge to hear that. You know what I mean? So we'll do what we can. Community members go spread the word. If people choose to show up, they choose to show up. If they choose not to show up, they choose not to show up. That's not on our shoulders. That's an individual point of responsibility.
All right. Thanks for the comments.
Hi, just really quickly. My name is Leolani Iwaki. I just want to touch upon what the lady said here about the neighborhood board commission. They should really work with all the neighborhood boards to get the notice out to a lot of the communities. I think it's their responsibility to really to make sure that the neighborhood boards are, the word is getting out that there is such a thing as a neighborhood board. I only knew about it in 2024 because of the bus route. I didn't know there was a neighborhood board. And since then, I've been coming to the neighborhood board meetings, not just this one, but 4 or 5 different neighborhood boards I've been going to, because yes, it is important, but if you don't know about it, you don't know about it. Now, bus route 200, Aloha Avenue, 6th Avenue, huge sign. If somebody put a sign up and said, hey, we're going to put a bus route over here. We're going to have a neighborhood board meeting, come to it. I can guarantee you a lot of people will show up because it's a busy section. Same thing with the dojo. If you got a huge sign that said dojo coming soon, show up to your neighborhood board meeting, you're going to have a lot of people show up. And not wait until everything is, like done with planning and it's, too late to do anything. So, and just like the bus stop, too late to do anything. So it's all after the fact. But anyway, that's just what I wanted to say. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Any last comments? We have one last comment. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh,
I'll just speak as a resident, but also an expert in media relations. Some people still do watch news. And as I said, I've worked in this business for 30 years in all of the newsrooms. But I know how our reporters used to get stories. They'd look at the agenda, but not necessarily be told, if they were looking for a story, they'd go and look at each neighborhood board. And I don't know if you guys already do this, but if maybe you assign someone that, a couple weeks before saying, hey, here's some highlighted things on our agenda. You might want to do a preview news story about it, or at least just a short mention. And I also agree the news should do a story on what are neighborhood boards, because I think a lot of people don't know what kind of power the neighborhood board has, what they're allowed to vote on, all that kind of stuff. So feel free, if you guys, we can talk offline, and I've got some ideas on how best to reach the media, because I totally agree. People, like you were saying, if they decide not to show up, that's on them. But if they don't know about it, then that's on all of us, right?
All right. Thank you, David. All right, Becky, one last comment.
Yeah,
Quick
yeah,
one?
just real
Okay,
quick.
go ahead.
I wanted to say I like the idea of signs, and you know, signs aren't that expensive to make, so perhaps we could put a sign in some conspicuous places like the week of the neighborhood board meeting. I also wanted to express support for what Sean said about being civically engaged, and I think it is really important. It's, you know, that thing that they say about grumbling, right? You know, like you're going to find less to grumble when you feel agency and you're actually doing something, you're participating. So I think everyone can, you know, maybe just make a goal to go to like 2 or 3 neighborhood board meetings a year or something like that, and that would be helpful. The other thing, last thing I just wanted to say is, obviously I've been following the thing about ICE, and you know, I'm concerned about our immigrants or perceived immigrants and whatnot. And from what I've seen in Minneapolis, and I just want to kind of encourage this to happen more here. It might not be the neighborhood board level, like it's going to have to be much more micro than that, but the success that they were experiencing in battling ICE in Minneapolis seemed like it was just very like nuclear, you know, small community-based groups. And so I would just encourage everyone just to kind of reach out to your block and your neighbors and just like know what's going on, and you know, just keep your eyes out for shady activity, and you know, do what we can to foster that sort of community close-knitness. That's all. Thanks.
Right. Thank you very much, Becky. All right, we're going to have to move on, but thank you everyone for the ideas, things to consider. So we will consider them going forward. All right, the next item is a request from the Neighborhood Commission Office to review neighborhood board boundaries and submit requests for any revisions. So this is a request from the Neighborhood Commission Office for each board to consider the boundaries of their boards and work with other boards on any suggested boundary amendments. I'll just open up for a couple of minutes here. We can also come back to this. I believe we still have a little time. We can come back to this next month as well. So I'll place it back on the agenda next month. But any initial thoughts on that from the board? Okay. All right. So I will place this back on the agenda for next month. And the board boundaries are online. It's also listed on our agenda. So if folks could take a look at that, and if there are any suggestions on perhaps changing some of the lines to better represent Kaimuki, let's talk about that at the next meeting. All right, the next item is approval of written summaries of video record for Wednesday, November 19, 2025, and Wednesday, January 21st, 2026. Are there any corrections to those written summaries? All right. Hearing none, I believe we do not need a motion, so we will just file those as submitted. All right. Yes, I'm sorry, Paul.
Notice on the minutes, or is it January 21st on the agenda?
Good question.
On the other, well, whatever it is, then what
It should be January 21st.
correct that. Thank you.
So we will correct those. We will correct that minute. All right. So it will be filed as corrected for January 21st, 2026. Thank you for pointing that out. All right. Report of the Transportation Committee. Audrey.
Yes, our Transportation Committee met with the Department of City and County Department of Transportation on December 10, 2025, regarding the bus route 200, which was implemented in August 2024. We were represented by Leolani Iwaki, Juanita Liu, and myself. We presented our summary, which had 2 key points: safety hazards on Aloha Avenue, and also with the removal of bus route 9, which was pretty much replaced by bus route 200. It was critical for residents to get to Kaimuki town and commercial area. And most recently, we were so honored by Palolo Neighborhood Board. They passed a resolution to support this along with Kaimuki and Diamond Head resolutions that were passed in 2025. But Juanita and Leilani will do the presentation now.
Okay, thank you. So our committee is represented by Chair Audrey Abe, Leolani Iwaki, and myself. And I also would like to acknowledge the commitment of the other neighborhood boards chairs. Renelle, thank you for being here and for your support. Last week, they passed the resolution unanimously with her full board, and also Diamond Head. Yeah. Thank you, thank you. And we were there last week at Diamond Head as well, and they were really strongly committed to this matter. I think that the reason why all three boards are committed to this issue is because the Bus 200 is so important. It's the only major public transportation for our three neighborhoods. Instead of being a commuter route, which it used to be as Route 3 going all the way to Navy, taking people to jobs at Pearl Harbor Naval Shipyard, like my mother, now it serves as a circulator in our three neighborhoods. So you can see that the route here, Palolo, and it goes down to Kaimuki, and then down here in Kapiolani Park. So it's serving basically three neighborhoods. And all of these three neighborhoods are basically different. Palolo is primarily a commuter type of neighborhood where you primarily passengers are getting on. Kaimuki is different because we serve as both a commuter, in other words, passengers getting on in this huge rectangle here, which is 20 blocks across and 6 blocks down, but they're big, long blocks. I mean, this is like 8,000 feet by 4,000 feet. And then you have the third, we are both commuter as well as destination, because look at what we have here in Kaimuki, the major trunk route, which used to be Route 3 and Route 9. Here, I need to get the right side. This route here, this part of the route here was very important for Kaimuki, and not only for Kaimuki, but Palolo residents as well. Okay, because what does this route serve? Well, what do we have along here? We have Kaimuki town, so the main part of Kaimuki town. And then you turn, and that's all the parks and the restaurants and everything, the banks, the professional services like lawyers, dentists, everything else. And then you go down Cocoa Head Avenue, and what do you have here? Your main community resources, your post office and your library. And you also have the dialysis center, Kaimuki Christian Church, the fire station. Then you turn on Pahoa here, a short way, and then you go down 18th Avenue. And what do you have on 18th Avenue? Kaimuki Middle School. Did you know that there are 1,000 kids at Kaimuki Middle School? So Palolo has about 300, but there are 1,000 kids here. And so then you go down to Diamond Head Theater, KCC, and this area here in this little square are medical services that are very important to the community. The Leahi Daycare Center for the elderly, and there's also the Diamond Head Health Center, and also HUGS, which serves severely compromised young people. So people in Palolo actually asked about how they would get now to the library or how they would get to Leahi Hospital. So this is a destination for people in Palolo. It's not just for the Kaimuki residents. Kaimuki residents are now asking, how do we get to Kaimuki town? Currently with Bus 200, you cannot. If you live in this area here, there's no easy way to get to Kaimuki town. I know residents who live here, and they say, yeah, well, I have to walk 3 blocks, and then I have to get off 3 stops and get off and walk again. It's just too much trouble. So I used to go to Kaimuki Intermediate, that's what it was called, and I would take the bus, straight up to Kaimuki town or to the library, and then transfer to go to Chinese school downtown. But the librarian now at this library says she doesn't see the kids after school coming here anymore. And why? Because it's just too hard to get here. So they're not coming. So I think that the loss of this major trunk line in Kaimuki is really uncalled for. I mean, there's no real reason that they could give us, DTS or anybody could give us, as to why they removed this route. And we were trying to figure out how long this route lasted, because I'm telling you, it's the only route that makes sense from any standpoint, from a planning standpoint, from a user standpoint, from DTS's own standards, which is to increase ridership and also to hit the key destinations. Well, you remove that route, you're removing ridership, because where did they put Route 200? Why? It's right here. It's between two existing routes, and these look really wide, but actually it's a abstraction because the roads are much closer together. But bus 200 is now in between routes 2 and 3, which are very high frequency. They come every 15 minutes. So if you're in between these two routes, 1 or 2 blocks away, you're not increasing ridership. In fact, you're cannibalizing the other 2 routes. Can you see that? But if you were to have it going down the middle of Kaimuki, you would actually increase your coverage, because right now there's nothing. So I think this is something, you said, oh, people give up. I'm telling you, we're not going to give up, because we're taxpayers here, okay? Our houses are really expensive. I mean, when I bought my house a long time ago, and my parents' house, I think was $13,000 in Kapuhulu, which sold for over $1 million. We pay a lot of taxes, and we deserve to have a bus route. If we want to have Eric's plan here of taking public transportation, when I'm too old to drive, or I want to just go somewhere, right now it's extremely inconvenient for the employees, for the residents, for the businesses, which are experiencing loss of foot traffic. Our kids, our kapuna, people from Palolo. And so we have a revised bus route that all 3 neighborhoods now agree to. And DTS told us, we had a meeting. They could not give us, I'm telling you, one good reason why they removed that bus route, which has been in existence, I believe, over 80 years and probably 100 years, because public motorized transportation started in Hawaii in 1920. And the lowest bus routes are the ones that were the earliest routes. And this used to be Route 3. So if you're talking about bus 2 and 3, these were the earliest routes. Okay?
9.
So my time is up.
Sorry, Route 9.
Right?
Route.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry,
but
Route
it
9.
changed to Route 9 in about 2017. Okay, they changed it to Route 9. But it used to be Route 3 when I took it. When I went to intermediate school 65 years ago. Yeah. So, they can't tell us, they can't tell us that this is a unnecessary route and we want to get people from Palolo to Kapiolani Park. I live right there. I have a bird's eye view of the street. Everybody who lives along the route in Kaimuki says the ridership is terrible. So you want to talk about ridership? The ridership 60 to 90% is in Palolo. So we don't recommend any changes to that at all. And we like the fact that it's now serving Palolo going to Market City. We changed our resolution and we want it to go back to the old Route 9 and going around our health services and serving our community, as well as people from outside the community. We need to serve our community and our own people, our own residents now who can't get to Kaimuki town. I think that's just absolutely absurd that you have a community circulator route, bus route, that's not take your main residential population to its town center. How does that even make sense? So I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
See, I don't really care about this issue at all.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you. Thank you to the committee for all of its work on that. Quick question. Was the meeting with DTS before or after the resolutions passed by Diamond Head and Palolo? December 10th. Okay. Okay. Before Palolo's resolution. Okay. Thank you. And thank you for the work on the committee.
But Pololo has always been in support, I think, but they were trying to get their quorum set up. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for the work on the committee. And I understand it. It is an ongoing issue. So, okay, great. Thanks very much. All right. Any reports of board members attending other neighborhood board and public meetings from anyone?
Chair Brian,
Yes,
I-
yes,
I-
Calvin.
I attended January 31, Congressman Ed Case's Talk Story Town Hall meeting at Washington Middle School.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Any other attendance at meetings? All right. If not, we will move on to board announcements. The next meeting of this board is on Wednesday, March 18, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. right here at the Kaimuki Library and via WebEx. This meeting is also broadcast on Alelo, Channel 49 at 9 o'clock p.m. on the second Sunday of each month. And we have a couple of links on our agenda for reporting neighborhood issues, particularly the HNL311.com app. Okay, and with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.